How exciting.
Oh, here
Hi.
we are. Hello guys, we are here with Ri.
Ri.
Who are you, Ri?
Who am I? That's a really good question. That's a question I ask myself every day. I'm always finding new ways of describing myself. I think interspecies chameleon is something I like to...
Interspecies chameleon.
Yes.
So you relate with a lot of species? You belong to different species?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes, it means that I am a shapeshifter. I change depending on what's the necessity of the moment. I've been having, the last few years have been a journey of discovery of different forms of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a lot with gender. I've been a lot of different people. And, I guess from this, I started acting. And that made a more stable place for myself in my own life existence. In terms of what I do,
Let's not go there because
Okay.
I love how you're framing this.
okay.
Because what I read is that you don't identify yourself with your personality.
No.
You switch personalities. You are something deeper than the personalities that you express
I'm the observer.
to
for
that.
sure. For sure. Yeah.
And you are not an actor, like you're observed, but you are also interact with your ecosystem around.
Yes. Yes, it's been an investigation process.
Okay.
An investigation process of how these different personality traits interact with the world.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a baseline.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a baseline created through the foundation of my existence, through my family, through the place I come from. Obviously, there's a baseline, and that's where I come to and from. But I like to play with the expression parts of things. So
I love what you're saying because at least in the language that I manage, what I'm reading is that you are your soul. You know that. Like that deeper interspecies chameleon is something that just the fact that you define yourself as a chameleon for me is like I see that you feel you belong to different things, but while changing your skin, your skin tone, you're just adapting around. So I don't know, congrats on you because that's for me it means a lot of learning in this life. Like I see around so many people that they just think they are the person that they have built their own life, and they are disconnected from their inner self. And for me, that's sorry, but yeah, it's a shame. It may be a shame, but it's a shame that we are here also to repair, like to question ourselves. Who are you? Who are you guys? Who are you?
who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? So you talk about gender as well.
Gender, for sure.
Today there's a lot of discussions about gender, non-binary genders, LGBTQ plus 1, 2, 3,
XYZ,
70.
yes, it's a complex. There was none of this when I engaged in the world. It was just LGBT, Then there was a plug, was it QI? I don't know. It's been evolving a lot. Actually, I've lost track of the language, and that's I can see that's a trigger point for a lot of people who are disassociating with their gender. Through this process, I've ended up interacting with a lot of people who are they don't connect with the gender with their physical
Sexual,
or even their biology,
sex.
but there's a specific language that comes with this that I am not so pro at. So because also I don't care so much about my own gender anymore. Like there was a time in my life that I really wanted everything to be neutral. I wanted to be called Ri, and I wanted to, all the time. I'm okay. Rita is also fine because that's the body I was born in, and that's also part of my identity, in a way. So I'm okay with whatever comes. I'm okay if people call me she or he or they. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Are you okay if they call you Pedro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my father's name.
Oh.
Well spotted. Yeah.
That's okay. So let me ask you a question, because we've been talking already a lot about religion and how we are defining religion basically by 4 cardinal tenets, which is, first of all, unity. Even if we can perceive ourselves as individuals, we're all one, all self. Evolution, like let's mix traditions with evolution, like just to grow up on solid foundations. Merging ancient wisdom with modern technologies, like just aggregating and converging different languages, different teachings, learnings into, they all teach the same, so just develop the same language for reaching this common knowledge. And then let's assume life as a really deep but also fun. We can talk about these things while having fun, of course. Yeah. So under this religion point of view or whatever, how is this gender diversification happening? How do you see that? Is something that is converging? Is something that is diverging? Because my belief is that so many times when we focus on creating different terminologies for so many things and creating new words, a new language for that creates separation, because
yes, and I would like to add the end here, because for us to really understand or understand anything, we need to look at all the aspects of it. And what I feel like, not necessarily my generation, I believe we're on a bridge, but the one that comes right after, I feel like that's their role, actually, to really, especially with gender, to really define everything and separate everything. Separate to then join, I believe. I believe that's a universal guidance right now.
And that makes a lot of sense. At least following this belief that I was sharing, that makes a lot of sense. That we can unite from the previous acknowledgement of being separated. But if that seems like a paradox, it's the only way to diverge and then converge into unity.
Yeah. Like I found this in, for example, like female circles. Like when I started engaging with circles, with the communication circles, healing circles, all of a sudden I realized that there was a very special need for feminine circles, for female circles. I never really understood that until that moment, because all of a sudden you're in a safe space, right? So people can go deeper into their wounds without being in a place where they feel like they can be attacked. And so I started to understand the importance of exclusive spaces to then create inclusive spaces. Yeah, so like have feminine circles. I would prefer feminine circles and masculine circles to women and men's circles, because maybe because of my own gender identity per se. So yeah, I would prefer to have feminine and masculine circles so that I can myself work on my femininity and my masculinity, so that you can work on your femininity and your masculinity. Not just because you're a man, you only go to men's circles, or I'm a woman, so I go only to women's circles, but gender fluid, so what do you do with this,
Gender fluidity, I mean, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I understand how my personal experience, how I am a male, how I connect with this masculine energy, but I also see a lot of feminine energies around, right? Like,
but not only.
But we live in a society in which if I do something like this, I'm walking there around, it seems like, what the fuck is that? So I'm kind of enforced or even coerced to. And if I just go,
I like this one. This is my favorite one too.
And if I just go, it works. And if I go there around, like, people will respect me and so on. So,
but that's the truth. Unfortunately, like, that's definitely something I found.
Tell me, I want the audience to see something, because maybe this is a beard woman.
Hi.
Do you know that those myths about circus and having women with beards? So we can put her in a circus.
Hi. Yeah, or in some cultures, have you heard of La Loba? Mm.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because for Dee, it seems like you have been having a really androgynous kind of life.
Yes. Without knowing, actually, for the first 26 years of my life, completely clueless. Yes.
So, I don't know, in a nutshell, you want to share a little bit your experience in learnings, in facing both your femininity and masculinity, different times, same times, how...
I mean, it's been really crazy. I feel like my masculinity came similar to what you were saying, you know, a necessity of life. I was about 11 when I started to really bloom as a female. And I found some photos of myself recently, and I was super feminine. There's like me between these flowers looking super sweet. And then I think the next year after this, I had some situations actually with a boy. I really liked him. He was my best friend's brother. And I really liked him, and you know, the school was closed. Both our parents were teachers, and you know, and I was really excited. We were playing. I was like 11, 12. I was young. I was innocent. I was really innocent. And we went playing, and all of a sudden the game changed. All of a sudden he grabbed me from behind with a hard on my ass, and I was hoping he was gonna kiss me. Like that, I was really hoping that he was gonna kiss me, and this is what he did. So then the next year, when the next year started, all of a sudden I became hairy.
Ooh.
Yeah, like this has been the process. So I mean, if you want to look into it, you can, or you could just say that my body just did this automatically and it had nothing to do with my experience. It depends.
You were scared as fuck at that moment. How?
Well, actually,
how did you feel?
I defended myself. I grabbed his cock and I twisted it and I ran. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky.
Oh.
I'm very lucky. That could have been a very different story. That's a very different story.
He was older?
Yeah, he was older. Oh, he was like 2 years older than me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, he was a teenage boy, right? And I was still a child. You know, like I was in that 11, 12 phase, and he was already in that 13, 14, right? So it's a very different, like that age limit is really different, especially for boys and girls. No.
Thank you for sharing this story. I admire the courage that you're bringing here, because this is a very, you're exposing your vulnerability here, so I acknowledge the big balls that you have.
Actually, that's a joke I like to make. I say, like, you know, the reason I'm like this is because my balls, they descended from my ovaries, right? Mm-hmm. It's a whole different story, you know. Came right from inside me.
But let's talk a little bit about vulnerabilities. And before, you were talking about safe spaces. How do you relate, let's say, the needs of people acknowledging their vulnerabilities and even having the courage to show them? Is this something that will be beneficial to people, or and why not dangerous? Because if I'm exposing my vulnerabilities, I'm practically telling you, hey, this is the way for you to harm me if you want.
Exactly. I mean, there is a point there. I'm a very big pro. I vote in the direction of complete vulnerability and openness, and simultaneously, my openness and vulnerability has gotten me in trouble before, because I'm so honest about my experience. Like, I've been called arrogant, narcissist, all these stuff, when a lot of the times I felt like I was sharing in order to help other people feel safe to share. You know, I just go fully naked so that other people can feel like they can share. And that's a curious thing about the beard, actually, is like when I have the beard, I find people are much more honest with me. Like when we have a complete communication, like I have a lot of people, like, you know, they look at me and they go like, oh, you know, like they get weird, you know, like they're like, what is this? It's not even, they don't even recognize me as a human, you know, like, what is this, you know? And so then I have to do the work. You know, I have to do the work of reminding them, look, I'm a human being. Hey, how are you? You know, be super sweet, which is my being in a way. Obviously, not only because, you know, waves. But this really gives people an openness, and because my flaws, let's say, are on my face, then people all of a sudden they go really deep. You know, people I've just met on the street and they're like telling me, oh no, because when I was a kid I had some hairs and you know I've been so scared, you know, or like oh my mother, you know, like there's always things like that. This will really trigger people to be super honest with me. So it's a really great gift. That's what people ask me, like, why don't you take it out? You know, there's possibilities to remove my beard these days. It's not that expensive. You know, I could potentially do this if I wanted to, easily. But as I say, it's like I get given a gift of full vulnerability, and to be able to live in masculine spaces and feminine spaces without a doubt. You know, I've been given a gift, the privilege of being able to be a man in a man's world and a woman in a woman's world. And this is, why would I throw that away? Because it's hard for me. Yeah, when I'm feeling really bad, that's the returning thought.
Yeah.
When I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take my beard off. I don't want to deal with this. Blah, 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 blah. And then I take it off and I miss it. So, but then when I grow it again,
the same happens to me.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, when I grow my beard, I have a really similar experience. When it's just starting, like now, I'm more comfortable with it. Until now, I would still prefer it. Maybe in about a week or two, it gets more interesting. At this moment, I'm still, it looks a bit messy. After a little bit, it looks like a choice.
Okay.
And that changes also people's perception.
Is sex a vulnerable thing? Is sex a powerful thing?
Yes.
What is sex, and how can we talk about sex from religion? Because usually religions is putting that as a taboo. People don't talk about it. You only do it with your partner in his room. You don't show off.
Turn off the lights.
Like people are getting naked to love while they are just being dressed out there to meet people. I don't know. Do we want to talk a little bit about
Yes, I do want to talk about sex, yes. Always. It's a life force, no? However, I'd like to touch on one point before.
Please.
Because we've been talking about this, and I think it's a theme that we're going to continue talking about, which is, you talked about power and vulnerability. Yeah, for me, it keeps coming back like a sound wave. Anything that's high, it's low. So the more vulnerable you are, the more powerful you are. That's my version of reality.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I show myself to be vulnerable, some people think that I'm being weak, when in reality I'm showing them my power. Because actually, if for me to be this naked around you, can you imagine how safe I am inside myself to be this naked?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, and I resonate a lot there. Yeah.
When it comes to sex and all these themes, it's been a really complex subject, you know, because until I was 26, I didn't really know what it was like to make love. I didn't know it. Like, I would have sex.
You knew how to fuck.
I knew how to fuck. Well,
you experienced some fucking?
I explored it. Okay. I explored fucking. I explored physicality. I explored, but because I wasn't so connected with my body or my essence.
Did you explore?
Not so much.
Not so much?
No, until actually I had a really great friend who fucked me, and he just went like, Rita, you need to get a vibrator. And that was like such an opening, like that just opened my oh my God, I was like, I started having like huge orgasms, and I was just like, my God, what is this, you know? Because before then I was having these like tiny little orgasms. These days it was like a sort of orgasm, you know. And these days,
like what?
Yeah, that's it. And it's just like, well, I had no idea that you could come for hours. You know, that you could be in this orgasm land for hours. I didn't think it was possible, you know, to have, you know, 3, 4, 5 minutes where you can't stop shaking and breathing, where you're in this like space of like cosmic love and cosmic connection. Like, I didn't know that was possible, you know. So the vibrator was the first experience for me to go there, and that was really interesting. And then the journey of sexuality continued for me to really clean what I had done. You know, like we talked about this before. You know, like I had I slept with a friend of mine. Okay, and
me too.
But he had a girlfriend. Yeah, and,
she did it.
But ridiculous situation, okay? It was actually, it was because I had a conversation with the same guy that gave me the vibrator idea. He told me there's nothing worse for a man than a woman that says yes and then says no. Right? So then I was really tired. My friend was a little drunk. I had just arrived from a 1-month journey in Japan. I was all over the place. And it was a love journey and it didn't hit. So it was complex. I was in a complex emotional state. Also, that was pre-26, guys. Remember this. And, people, sorry. To the people that don't associate themselves with guys, this is just a figure of communication. I'm sorry if it triggered you. I mean, human beings in general. And folks, folksism, potentially, people, people.
Peeps.
My peeps.
Maybe they're like peeps. What's
up,
up,
yo,
peep?
my peeps. What is this?
Peeps.
Yeah. So then he told me, like, it's the worst thing that you could ever do to somebody. So this whole scenario, the context, he wasn't very happy with his partnership. I was not very happy with my partnership. He came to just flirt with me and kiss me, and I told him today, dude, don't, because I won't be able to say no. And he still came into my space, and I was in the shower, and I was thinking, like, oof, do I really want to do this? And the answer was no. But because he was my friend, and I remembered the story of my other friend, that's the worst thing that you could do to a guy. I still slept with him, and it was terrible because we weren't connected. We didn't really want to. I think he didn't want to either. He had a partner. We were just upset.
That's a great problem in sexuality,
yes.
Right? The lack of capability of people to first decide yes or no, and then communicate that.
Exactly.
There is a lot of lack of coherence.
Yeah.
In there, for me as a male, has been like super difficult because I have noticed that women are more in a condescendent culture, that they need to please. They somehow feel the need to please, maybe by society. So if I'm approaching and stuff, so they are like, yeah, flirt and stuff because they want to please. But then the next day, maybe I'm just going there because I was feeling, at least that was the energy that I was reading, and I see them like blocked. That's fun, no? Because of course I have triggered something. I just like that girl, so of course I will approach her and flirt with him. So if you're flirting me back, I will go deeper in that energy, in that action. But I mean, if in your inner self you're feeling some kind of contradiction, it's normal that the next day there's like boom, and this girl was like really triggered for a couple, maybe 3-4 days, like what the fuck is happening? Then we opened the space, and she started like to show a lot of things that I haven't seen, of course, because what she was showing me was completely different. So I was lost as fuck. I think males in today's society, we are getting a lot of difficulties there because we are in some kind of a transition period, right? Because so far we've been like taking a lot of advantage of the culture because man is the one that is invasive and woman is like, I don't know what to do. Okay, invade me.
Agree. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Great. So this has been so fucking easy for male to just go and take what they think, but it's there by right, just because I'm a man and you're a woman. I can't. This is energetical.
Okay. And I hear you. And honestly, I'm gonna get super vulnerable because today I'm feeling quite upset. Yeah, I'm feeling really guilty. I'm feeling guilty because even though I'm a woman, born genetically female, as far as we know, there's been the most likely scenario is that I'm a female. I didn't get my DNA tested. It's very interesting because now all of a sudden there's these people that show up that look like full females and they don't have menstruation till they're 16. They go to a doctor and actually find out they have an XY chromosome. So, this does happen. So I didn't get that tested. I didn't get my chromosomes tested, but everything else, female. So as a female who lived as a female for 38 years, recently I had a moment with a woman who I thought could be my potential love of my life. I thought that she could have been my soulmate. Like I've had this idea of having a primary partner for many years. And I keep calling for it, and it seems like there is more, the people that are coming to me are closer to this person. So now when I meet somebody, I'm just like, oof, is this the person? You know, but then I get confused because also I thought maybe ideally for me would be a male and a female in a partnership with me. So that would be a trio relationship. So, you know, I'm still a bit open to what's happening. It's not like I have a clear direction. But I was with this woman and I thought like maybe she was the love of my life. And we were engaging in getting to know each other for a while, maybe three weeks. And the first time that she felt comfortable to touch my body, to be engaged with my genitalia. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, she was playing with my clit. Okay, she was playing with my clit, and yeah, it was really nice. It was so nice that I wanted her to penetrate me. Right. So I said to her, "Can you come inside me?" I asked her to come inside me, and she started coming energetically. She started coming whilst playing with my clit. And in that moment of me being super open to what was happening and just like enjoying this so much, I guided her hand instead of allowing her to continue this amazing experience. And it was feeling so nice for me that what was happening was feeling really nice. But there was like this, no, I want you to be inside me, you know, and I guided her hands. And I'm a woman. So this is really upsetting for me. It's very upsetting for me. It's, you know, like, it was such a beautiful moment, and I feel like I ruined it. You know, not only for us in that moment, but I feel like that really put like a really big space between us, you know, because she wasn't quite ready for that, or else she would have done it. Yeah. And again, like, I'm a female, and the reason I share this is because I feel we're really hard on men. I don't think we're being kind enough to understand these bits. You know, because even as a woman, even though I've done all this work and I've had so many different experiences with different people in a deep tantric level, and still at 38, in that moment I forgot, you know, because it was so good. It was so good. I wanted it to be better. Yeah, so, you know, like, I think it's important to talk about this stuff because of this, you know, and as I say, like, I'm really exposing myself here, you know, like, it's this is my, you know, it's a huge flaw. It was a huge flaw. It's a huge moment of growth that I'm gonna carry with me for probably the rest of my life, you know, and I'm gonna keep remembering it, you know, and maybe for some people this is nothing, yeah, but for me, like, I see the repercussions. I feel the waves of how this.
I think there is. I mean, we all need a lot of healing. We all have a lot of work to do. For first, to say what we were sharing at the beginning, for us to connect with our really we. Am I really I? Who am I? You know. And I like to bring the sexuality topic because I think this is a mean for reaching that.
There is no deeper way to connect, I think. Even though I don't feel it always has to be physical. Like, you know, like, sometimes talking about sex or even energetically communicating with someone through all the chakras. So not removing sexuality, you know, loving everybody with everything except my first chakra or second chakra, you know, like, well, not these two, you know, like, I feel like we can go very, very deep. through connection with all of us.
I think that connection with ourselves is the main guideline that we should be focusing on in today's society, because we live in a society that has been just building so many rules from nation state, from economical needs, from old patriarchal religion, from different inputs that you behave, you obey, you thing, and then our parents and their parents before their parents and their parents before 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 their parents. Okay? That we are not who we are supposed to be. We are not that. So let's look inside. Let's experiment with meditations, with self-awareness, with yoga, with Tantra.
Yes.
Tantra is a magnificent tool for just knowing yourself.
Yeah, it's a mindfulness, no?
And from that is great, because sex is something that we all want. Sex, love, touch, care. It's a common need to all the humanity, and probably the most beautiful and sublime of them all.
Simultaneously, it's interesting how the more spiritual people I know tend to have a very different relationship to sex. Like, until I was 26, I was sleeping with a lot more people than I am now. And it's not because of, it's a desire thing for me.
Because sex became sacred.
Yes, exactly.
This is what happens with Tantra, that sex became sacred, and sacredness is just a means to reach divinity. Is our gateway to the high level worlds of spirituality. So when you connect to Tantra, when you connect with this kind of sexuality, you just don't make sex so I come, and
then what comes, what is that little orgasm again, no?
And we need also to be careful, because as I'll do this tantric sex can be really sacredful.
Yes.
Like regular, ordinary sex can be really make us go to hell and absorb a lot of different and weird energies that are even triggering more illness in our personality and getting attached to shit and harming people around us, you know. That happens a lot. I mean, if one decides to follow on a spiritual path, especially on Tantra, you develop a whole new relationship with that. And even if you're not fucking that much as you used to fuck before, you're having so much meaning. Yes. In this new act of sex that whoa.
But it also comes with a different level, no? Because like everything becomes sexual all of a sudden and desexualized, which is really interesting, you know? Like for me these days, like eating food, feeling the sun on my skin, the little breeze, just breathing is better than a lot of the sex I had until I was 26. Yeah, like just the drinking water can be more pleasurable than fucking, you know? So that really puts things in a whole different perspective, right? Like it's a whole different world. But I would like to say something, because a lot of people, like when I talk about Tantra, go like, oh, I don't really know much about it. So I asked them, were you ever really, really in love with your partner? They're like, yeah. So were you in this place where you're just exploring each other's bodies and like really connecting and breathing together, you know? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's Tantra. Like for me, if we go in, that's a natural way towards Tantra, not to just be, again, mindfulness, not to just be really, really connected with what we're doing, with what we're experiencing. And again, that's why that story was so hard for me, you know, because I was so connected with what I was experiencing that for that moment I forgot about the other person.
I mean, Rita, but we also we are here also with our flaws, with a lot of things. Like we're not perfect beings, so
but that's the path, no? Like to get to the closest to perfection as we can in this lifetime.
Yeah, but even by making mistakes and accepting and acknowledging who we are, and just to I just gave the best that I could in that moment.
Yes.
And make peace with that moment and just...
Yes, make peace, but remember. Because if I don't remember, then I'm gonna put my foot in that puddle again. But if I know there's a puddle there, I'm not gonna step on it. I'll step on a different one.
I will say, yeah, be in peace, but learn.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Remember.
Learn. No, I'm joking.
It's the same for me.
Okay, if it's the same for you, it's the same for me. Let's not separate
exactly.
the flow just because.
Exactly.
Which is important, which is the main thing that I want to inspire people to go on with religion, because in essence, in depth, we are all the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's all the same. The problem is that there is no language for
no common language.
Common. There is common. There is some kind of common language, but it's not verbal language. It's not explicit. It's super subtle. It lives in a frequency level that, we humans think that we are intelligent because we have thoughts and we have ideas and we can make reality of our project. So we are the higher species in this earth. We are gods, but we are evil. Look what we are doing to
everything, like how the division in humanity is absurd. It's absurd. But it's interesting that you were talking about these different languages of different religions and different aspects of society. Before I opened up to all this world, I was always really interested in people, right? So that includes religion. And at university there was like these prayer meetings. Prayer of different religions, and I used to go for fun. I used to love it. I was just like, I want to know how these people, because it takes so many people. Religion is involving so many people, so much of a percentage of the planet, that for me to understand human beings better, the only way I could do it was to also go into religion, even though I didn't really believe what they were. I didn't believe the whole story. Because, I've been at least bisexual since I was 18. So, we're consciously and accepting it and believing it. Pansexual, whatever, but I'm bisexual at that moment. So for me, going into religious spaces, it was always really hard because they wouldn't love me if they really knew.
There's a lot of judgment in this whole tradition.
Yeah. So like the moment that I assume that I present myself as loving all beings, not only of the opposite gender to me, then I'm rejected from this group of people. So that put me a step back. However, I still went to all of these that I could to learn, right? And one of these, I think it was Christian, and he was it doesn't really matter. And he was talking about the theory that some people say that God is at the top of the mountain, and that religions are just a different path to God. But that's not how it is. But he said that. So that little seed was placed in my
That's not how it is. Okay, it is for me. Bye.
Wow, that's really, I love that. That makes sense. Perfect.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you a lot, Rita. Let's finish the conversation for today. I think that we have, you have a flight to catch in a few minutes.
Now? Oh, yeah, we definitely need to go. Bye! So nice. I hope we get to do this again. I want to go deeper in some subjects. It feels very light. I would really like to go deeper in some subjects. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like having conversations with you is always it's really mind heart opening. Like it's a body opening. Like
this is the first time we work on video, so let's make more of that.
Yes. Nice. Wonderful human being.
Hug people. Hug.